What's up, mariachis? Today we're talking about the Linux and the terminal, and if you've been doing your homework, your hair is going to look like this. That's why I look so raggedy today. But you'll notice as the videos go on, I'm just going to become my true self. There's 3 operating systems. You've probably heard of all of them: Windows, Mac OS, and Ubuntu. I use Ubuntu for my tutorials, and moving forward, everything's going to be Ubuntu specific, so I really encourage you to switch to Ubuntu. Once we talk about that, we'll get into package managers, and that's just a way for us to install software. I realized with the Git tutorial, you probably don't have Git installed on your system, so you're going to want to know how to do that because it doesn't come out of the box. And then we're going to talk about the terminal, and specifically what I use. It's called the Terminator. We've been blessed by a visitor. His name is Polio. Let's get to it. I grew up on Windows. It's great for video games and media editing, but it just doesn't have the same feel for me when it comes to programming. I tried Mac OS for about 5 years, and I also couldn't quite understand it. I don't get how you have to drag and drop software to install it. It's just beyond me, and the whole ecosystem makes me sick. That's how I feel about Macs. Ubuntu specifically is a flavor of Linux. But I do want to tell you that Mac OS is based on Unix. So Ubuntu and Mac OS, they're almost like kissing cousins. I started using Ubuntu full-time about 10 years ago, and I instantly fell in love. I gave it a try 10 years before that, but it didn't have drivers or the software, and just felt a little clunky at the time. Modern day Ubuntu is very easy to install. You just go to ubuntu.com/download/desktop, press the download button, and then you can figure it out on your own. And I recommend you go and do that right now. Is it installed yet? How about now? Once Ubuntu is installed and you've updated your background to look as cool as mine, this is basically what you have. Your dock might be on the left, but you can move it anywhere you want. In fact, you can install any Windows manager that you want and make your Windows look like whatever you want. In fact, you can actually make it look like Windows using something called Xubuntu, which is something I've been using for quite a while, but more recently I decided to just go with the stock approach because the tiling mechanisms have been much more improved, and now I don't need the extra window manager that I used to have. He loves it. Let's talk about software installation and specifically package managers. For comparison, on Windows, if you want to install something, you have to go to a shady website, download an executable file, double-click it, watch this giant scary pop-up come to you, say, "Are you sure you trust this?" Press yes, and then pray that it's not a virus. With Mac OS, you have to do basically the same thing, but then drag and drop something into your applications folder. I don't get it. With Linux, there's a lot less steps. With Linux, the only virus is yourself. You're the virus. When it comes to Linux, the only virus is yourself. Congratulations. What's a package manager? Package manager is a tool you use to install software and remove it from your system. The primary ones on Ubuntu are apt, and snap. But of course, there are many more package managers, typically that are associated with different programming languages that you'll be working on. The best way to use a package manager on Linux is through the terminal. So let's talk about the terminal first, and then we can get into installing something like this. That's pretty fucking sick. The terminal can seem scary at first, but really it is your friend. It's not like the others. My friend of choice in this case is Terminator. It's got a red bar at the top, and it's very good at splitting up windows, like this. Here's one window. I split it horizontally. I split it vertically. I split it vertically. I can zoom in. Very friendly. Let's close all that. The terminal is a great tool for connecting to servers where you might not have a graphical user interface. And it's a great tool for traversing the file system. The terminal lets you use what's called a shell. There are different shells, and the one we're using is called bash. The bash shell has built-in commands. The most important command for you as a beginner is the help command. I guarantee most programmers have never used this command in their life. Most of the time, you're just going to Google something online and it's going to tell you exactly which command to use. But if you're curious like me, I recommend you type help and simply read what's here just so you know the realm of possibilities. If I press Control L, it will clear my screen. And right now, you'll see that I'm roaming on my work machine in the source folder. The next command you'll want to learn is ls. It's for listing the contents of a folder. In addition to that, there's the cd command, which is for changing directories. So I will change directory into my cheese code folder, and then press ls here. You'll see there's a single basic folder in here. If I want to visualize this as a list, I can add a directive, aka an argument, -l, which will display it in a more vertical format. Most commands have a built-in argument, --help, that you can add, and it'll give you a lot of information about additional flags and parameters and arguments that you can pass to that command. In addition to the simplified help argument, there's also a man argument, which stands for manual, that you can use to get a manual about pretty much everything. So we could do man ls, and it'll tell us exactly what this command does. If I do man cd, oh, well, that also happens sometimes. There's no entry for cd, but perhaps we can get a help. Yes, there's still a help instruction. So if you ever come across a command that you're not familiar with, just try the man or --help. Other times it might be as simple as -h, but pretty often that means something else. If you forget what command you're trying to type, you can always tab to see a full list. In my bash, you have to at least put in one first letter, so if I put in A, I can tab, and it'll ask if I want to display all possibilities. If I press yes, here's the full list. There, you can see that when I press tab, it doesn't want to complete it right away, but when I double tap, it gives me a full list. So if there's more than one option, you'll be presented with them. If there is one option, it'll automatically autocomplete. This is called bash completion. Again, I press Control L to clear the screen. Alternatively, you can write clear, but that's boring. If you'd like to see a history of the commands you've typed, you can use the command history to do just that. And if you want to run a specific command, like this one here, 1344, you can type 1344 after an exclamation mark, and it will execute that command. It's very cool. Most people don't know about that, and I've never actually used it since I learned it 10 years ago. Other ways to go through your command history is simply to press the up and down arrows until you find the previous command that you're looking for. A more impressive way to go through your command history is to press Ctrl R, which will actually start to autocomplete previous commands that you've typed. If I keep pressing Ctrl R, it'll keep searching for previous commands that I've entered. This is very dope. I'd smoke that if I could. Very dope. I don't smoke. If you're in a command and you want to exit it, most of the time you can press Ctrl C unless that command's doing something out of the ordinary. Ctrl D will in fact close your terminal. And now you're back to this amazing wallpaper. In this last segment, I want to show you which applications you can install in Ubuntu and use in your daily life. The list is available here. The first and most important one, like we've mentioned, is apt. So sudo apt install is how you would install a package. I'm going to press -y to automatically install without asking me if I want to, because I literally just typed the command. So I don't understand why it asked me in the first place. But sudo apt install y, and we're going to install something called cmatrix. I'm not going to a browser. I'm not downloading. I'm not pressing any installations. I simply typed in the command and I pressed enter, and now it's installed. So to run the matrix, I can do Control L, so my screen is clear, type in the command, and then press enter. If I wasn't talking, I'd do that in less than 2 seconds. Again, that's pretty fucking amazing. This is the power of Linux that I want to show to you. I want you to be inspired about how easy it is to do stuff. If I want to remove this so that it doesn't haunt my dreams, I can do something like this. Sudo apt remove purge yes cmatrix and press enter. Now it's gone. And if I type in cmatrix, it'll complain that it no longer exists. Installation and uninstallation are both very simple. The man command we've already talked about, so feel free to explore that on your own. Suppose you want to monitor your system resources for whatever reason. Ubuntu has top built into it, but it's a little dim. So instead, I like to use htop. It's a variant of top. So top, we're running on the left, and if I split my screen vertically, I will actually run htop on the right. You can see it's showing me the same information, but it's a different application that someone has built to be a little bit more colorful and a little more customizable. Very nice to have. Tree is a great command to show you what's inside your folders. And it's got a lot of directives, like listing just the directories. And if you'd like, you can also limit it by the number of directories. I only have one directory, so I can't demonstrate it to you. But when you're in the server environment without a graphical user interface, tree becomes really helpful. The next command I want to show you, and I have shown in a previous video, is nano. It's a simple text editor that works in the command line. So if I want to make a file myfile.txt or any extension, I just type in nano myfile, and I'm greeted with a nice interface. Here I could say Roman is the best, Roman is confused, hi, this is Roman. Control X, Y, and enter. It's now saved it. A nice command to follow up with that would be less. So if I do less tab, it'll actually show me what's in this folder. And I can do less my tab to auto-complete the line, press enter, and it'll show me the contents of this file. That's pretty awesome. Again, when you're connected to a server, this is going to come in handy. If you're curious about a folder size, you can do something like do h, and it'll show you the folder size of what you're in. You can limit the display to only a certain depth. In this case, if I do a depth 1, it'll just compute what's on the root level, and I don't care about the individual subfolders. But again, when you're on a server and it's running out of space, and you're curious what's taking up all that space, this command becomes really handy. And if you're curious, well, how much space is actually left on your entire file system, you can use the df command, which tells you that I have, for example, used 277 gigs, and I have 592 gigs left out of my 915 gig drive. Well, that's it. I hope the terminal is no longer scary for you, and you install Ubuntu. I'll see you in the future.